thank you everyone for coming along. It's probably in the last few hours been the worst kept secret in football, but we'd like to introduce you to our new manager, Joey Dunn. Very pleased to give Joe the job. He's been with the club a long time as a player. Probably held most of the positions. Been a player, a coach, a youth manager, an assistant manager, a caretaker manager, and now a manager. So really confident we've appointed the right man for the job, and would like to wish Joe all the best.
Robbie, first of all, we obviously appointed Joe Dunn as caretaker manager at the start of the week following the departure of John Ward. What's made you quickly appoint him permanent manager now?
Even when I first made the thing for Joe to be caretaker, he was always, in my mind, the likely candidate to move on. But, you know, it's like you need to sometimes sit and have a chat with somebody, but from the moment I've been speaking to Joe after that, I was convinced. Initially I was thinking, well, maybe I'll see, you know, who else applies or whatever there is like that, but from the moment I spoke to Joe, just when he thought he was only caretaker manager, I could see his enthusiasm and his desire to do good for the club, even though he thought he might only be doing it for a few games. My mind was made up.
Well, let's talk to the new manager, Joe Dunn. Joe, we spoke on Tuesday and you thought you were caretaker for a few games, thought you'd get a decent run at it, so how surprised were you that this moved so quickly?
Well, it moved quickly, time moves on, and one of the big things was speaking to Robbie, telling him how I felt we needed to do it in the short term. And as I said in the week, last time I was caretaker manager, kind of just keeping things ticking over for the next manager to come in. I didn't want to do that this time, and I made sure I let the chairman know that what I was going to do. And I think I spoke to him and telling him about my ideas, maybe how to move things along quickly. So, because I like to walk quickly. What I did last time wasn't the real me. And for me to be true to myself this time, I needed to move quickly.
An immensely proud day, I can imagine, for you, having been with the club for so long and done virtually every job here.
Well, as soon as the chairman went, do you want it? You know, I defy anyone who holds feelings for the club to say no. And that was it was an easy thing for me to do. And one of the things that's boring in me is to test myself also. I believe that this opportunity doesn't come around very often. And the one thing I don't hold is any fear. But what would annoy me, what would really grate me, is if I said no, the regret that would have to live with me for the rest of my life, and I don't want that. I don't want any part of that. So I said to the chairman, yes, I'll take it, but this is how I want to do it. So I've got my ideas about it.
It's a big chance for you, isn't it? Your first job in management as well, and you've gone on record this week as saying that you thought after your playing career, this is where you thrive.
Well, I've done it the hard way, if you like. I mean, I stopped playing when I was about 29. And you know, straight away coaching in 2003, I think it was. I took up younger players, and I've come up from the bottom, if you like. So I've done it grassroots way, and I think that will help me. Like I said, I've got to this point. It's not an overnight thing. This is 10 years, if you like, or 9 years of work and graft. That having worked with many different managers and many different players, I've accumulated what I now believe to be my style and how I would want to do it. That's very important for me. It's how I want to do it. You know, be true to yourself and be what I want, not what anybody else wants.
Do you have any thoughts on an assistant at this stage?
Yes, I do. I do. And today, Mark Kinsella will be at the training ground today. He'll probably come in and help me. You can speak to him about how we want to do things. But if it's good for Mark, we'll get on with it. And good. Somebody who knows the club, somebody who knows the area, somebody whose passions we share, but also somebody who relates to me in terms of drive, attitude, commitment, and also somebody who's qualified and who's done it the right way in terms of development. And Mark's also been in management in non-league. He's been very highly rated at Walsall when he was there with Steve Staunton. So it's one of these things you say, you're too young or you're too inexperienced, but when you look at it, between the two of us, we've been in and around the game and been in situations where we've had to make decisions. So Mark will be at the training ground today.
Robbie, two huge Colchester United legends working together. You hope that'll get the fans behind you.
Yeah, but I mean that's not the reason that we've done it. It's okay. It might sell a few extra tickets on Saturday for a few weeks, but the important thing that's going to make the club go forward in the long term is that the two guys are successful, and I wouldn't appoint people unless I really believe they could be a successful team together. So.
Okay, that's where we'll leave it live here on BBC 6 more throughout the day, but right now we'll hand you back to the studio. The press conference will continue here.
Joe, you talked about working with different managers and you develop your own style. What is your style?
My style, I believe, players need to be brave in how I want them to play. I believe in attacking style of football, but obviously that's all well said and done, and everybody loves to see that. What's important is that each player needs to know his responsibility, what is expected of me, and what I expect of him. And this week, like I said, I've been moving quite quickly. I spoke to players, I've told them what I expect from them. And what I do believe in, they need to give everything. They need to give everything. You know, it's a short life, I understand that, but to improve and be better at anything, you've got to go into it this comfort zone. You know, what really, you know, somebody once told me when I was growing up that ships are safe in the harbour, but that's not what they're built for. You know, and I want to try and get that drive and every ounce out of each player that represents the club, and that's very important. You know, and that's what's going to hopefully bring us and move us forward.
With a disciplinarian too?
It's key. It's key. I think, you know, if I'm a great believer in respect and how you behave as a player. Young players, I think it's a big thing in the game at the moment, but I've always believed that discipline off the pitch can relate to discipline on the pitch. In terms of a taskmaster, no, I'm not going to beat them with a stick, that's for sure. What I want to try and do is bring the best out of people. But they must respect their job. They must respect what people think of them. They must respect how they're perceived. And I think there's some fantastic examples out there of players who are top-level players who just behave themselves and just get on with the job. I mean, just do it. I mean, I've already told the players this week, talk and talk and talk, and just get on and do it. And that's what I expect from my players. I expect them to do.